Today, we're diving into an offseason that left a lot of Bears fans asking the same question. Was that it? No massive splash, no headline-stealing chaos, no offseason trophy parade through downtown Chicago. And for some fans, that's been frustrating. But maybe, just maybe, the Bears were playing a different game this year. Because while this offseason felt quieter than usual, there were still moves made that could end up mattering a lot more than people realize. Smart depth positions, under the radar decisions, calculated risks, the kind of moves that don't dominate ESPN in March, but suddenly look genius by December. So today, each of us is bringing our own good, better, best from the Bears 2026 offseason, the moves we liked, the ones we loved, and the one decision we think could have the biggest impact on the team moving forward. So let's get into it because the good, better, best starts right now. I'm Rob Schwarz with Bear Goggles On. Tonight we have both Justin Onayemi and Bob Weiss. Welcome in. This is the Huddle, where we never let it rest.
I love it. Yeah, we don't rest, and we don't want you guys to rest either. So please subscribe, like, comment, stay with us all through the offseason. There's tons to talk about. And so, Ben Johnson came. He brought the phrase and expression, good, better, best. Bob, kick us off. What was some of the good that you saw in the 2026 offseason?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to try to stay positive. It's good, better, best. Good, better, best. Ben Johnson brought that to us last year. We're going to keep rolling with it here. And my good this offseason is just the whole DJ Moore situation. Okay, I mean, DJ Moore has dealt with a lot in just his short time here in Chicago. He's got some incredible highs and some unfortunate lows. And I think when we talk about DJ Moore, I think now that he is gone, we are talking about him definitely in a positive light. But I think the return that we got for DJ Moore is going to play into his role here too. When we did our mock offseason, we knew that getting rid of that DJ Moore contract was going to free us up to do a lot of things that we needed to do this offseason. And we talked about maybe getting a 4th or 5th round pick for DJ Moore, and we ended up getting a 2nd round pick. Okay, and then it's not just getting a 2nd round pick, it's what they ended up doing with DJ Moore is actually going to help replace DJ Moore. They ended up getting the 60th pick, but then they traded down and they got top of the 3rd round pick and then a 4th or 5th round pick that ended up being Muhammad, right? Muhammad was the 2nd pick of that trade. That Malik Muhammad appears to be a very good cornerback who at least compete with Tyreek Stevenson this year, maybe take over down the line. But the other one is Roush, the tight end from Utah, like just an absolute athlete, just a beast of a blocker, a pick that nobody really saw coming. But when you really think about what this means about Ben Johnson making that a priority, is you're not looking to replace DJ Moore with Khalif Raymond or even Ja'Day Walker, right? What they're going to be doing is more 13 personnel, which only requires 1 wide receiver on the field anyway. So when you have a 3 wide receivers, Rome Odunze and Luther Burden and DJ Moore, who you love, you feel like you just have to play the 3 wide all the time. But without DJ Moore, and now you love your tight end room with Colson Loveland, Cole Kmet, and Sam Roush, 13 personnel is going to be a core identity of this offense moving forward. And it's all because of that value ended up getting for DJ Moore. So I'm going to start this offseason off with just everything they did related to getting rid of DJ Moore, moving DJ Moore while also improving the team is a good place to start.
I love what you said, Bob. You said so much there. I'm just going to add one more thing. It also freed up money that they ended up needing. So that's on top of everything you had mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that good is actually better than I think my good is. Real quick, Stanford, not Utah, for Sam.
Sorry, my bad. I was thinking Stanford, and I was like, no, because I had a conversation with Julie about Stanford yesterday, so I thought that was in my mind. But all right, thank you.
Good catch. I heard it too. You were moving, man.
Red and white. I was like, all right, it's probably okay.
Same colors. Just so the listeners at home don't call you out in the chat.
That's
right?
fine. I appreciate that.
That's all it's there for. So my good is, look, I know I've been like probably the stadium guru, right? Like if you go on social media and you look at Twitter and you type in Bears Stadium, a ton of my stuff comes up. So you would think that I wouldn't want this to come to an end. You would think that I would want to keep building a following from this. But in reality, I am just glad to know that no matter what the Bears decide, whether it's Indiana, whether it's Illinois, This thing is going to come to a decision this year. There is no way that they can continue to move down this path and go beyond 2026. It has to end now. If they start building the stadium, even in 2026, you're already pushing 2030, 2031 for when that stadium is going to be completed. Their lease at Soldier Field runs out in 2032, right? So they need a new home by 2033. That has to happen now. The NFL Stadium Committee is pushing them. They've already had a meeting with them once. They're having another meeting with them next week. We have no idea where the Illinois legislation is going to be. That is a separate topic. We'll talk about that at a different time, but I am just glad. I think it is good that they are going to be moving in a different or in a direction that has some resolution, and what it's going to bring, no matter which site they choose, they're going to have an increase in revenue that they can put towards the team in ways that doesn't necessarily, impact or drive the salary cap, but can impact the type of players and coaches that you bring in going forward.
All right. Go ahead, Bob.
I love that. You're right. There's definitely real steps and real progress being moved. I would not be shocked if this still does drag into 2027 a little bit before there's a final resolution, but there is absolute real progress. And we know that there's just all this stuff coming out. The Illinois government is just, they're not going to make this easy. They're not going to, so I think the Bears are putting real effort, and I think that that's excellent and that's good.
And it's just too much. I mean, like you said, it needs to come to an end, especially now that the product on the field actually is worth talking about. Then we don't want all this other distraction on the side. So well done. So my good, I'm going to start by saying kind of what you opened up with the show with, Rob, is like as fans, and maybe it's because we've been bad so long, but we always want to see these big moves, trade for Max Crosby or, sign a top free agent. And my good is that specifically with the interior of the D-line, which has been a sour point in the fan base, I felt that the Bears just took measured steps to try to improve a unit. And, they signed guys that weren't top tier guys. But again, you don't pay them like they are. You get them on 1-year deals, 2-year deals. You stay flexible for off seasons to come when you are going to have to start making decisions. I don't think it's much of a decision, but money is going to have to follow some of your decisions on guys like Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze and this core that you've started to build. So for me, the good was taking, Neville Gallimore, who we had fun with his name, as a Harry Potter wizard or something like that. What was the other one? Contavious Street and Lynch. And then in the draft, you follow that up with taking a swing on a guy who's available in the 6th round that some people are shocked you were able to kind of get. So will it end up coming out to what they need it to be? My thought is you had one of the worst units in the league last year, so it's not going to take that much to improve. You've improved lots of other places as well. And so I think taking a more measured approach was the right thing to do rather than just throw money at a problem, which kind of is what you did last season when you signed Dio, who, again, he's part of this too. They can't get past that contract, so give him another crack at it, but don't double down by chasing after a thing you already made a mistake or a problem potentially. So I liked that. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I mean, the flexibility to make giant moves just really wasn't there. I know a lot of fans, especially at Waddle Sylvie show, they say they wanted Brian Poles to overhaul that defensive line the way he did the offensive line the year before. The flexibility just wasn't there. They had nobody except Darnell Wright on the offensive line before, so they were able to do it. Like next year, when Dexter is going to be a free agent and you can get rid of defensive tackle and Dio, now you can look into that massive overhaul, but it just wasn't realistic this offseason. So I agree. Around the edges, just get some guys to come and be bodies.
Yeah.
All right. Next comes
Good
better.
Good. Now it's the better. All right. I'll start off here. The better of the offseason for me was 2 moves in particular that I think just sets this defense up for success in 2026 in a way that I think fans might be overlooking because they weren't big splashy signings. And that was the signing of Devin Bush at linebacker and specifically the signing of Kobe Bryant at safety. I'm not going to touch on Bush much other than I think the fact that he's going to bring some elite speed and be able to play the position in a way that I think Dennis Allen is going to like seeing versus what we saw with Tremaine Edmonds. Not that Tremaine Edmonds had a bad year last year, but I just think that Bush is going to fit his profile a little bit better. But when it comes to Kobe Bryant, and that's the one that really stands out to me, you now have a true safety that is so versatile, that can play down in the box, that can play single high coverage, that he can just mask and disguise and set offenses up for failure because they have no idea what the defense is doing. They don't know specifically, pre-snap what those reads are going to be. And I think it's going to throw a lot of these quarterbacks off to the point where, we saw takeaways. They led the league in takeaways last year. I don't think that's going to happen again, but I do think that they are going to be near the top again. I didn't say it, but one of the goods could have been that Al Harris was retained, right? Like that, the fact that he wasn't able to go anywhere, that would have been an ideal situation. That plays into this situation as well. So I love Kevin Byard, one of my favorite players of all time. Back when he was with Tennessee, I was one of his biggest advocates in IDP fantasy. Thought he was one of the top 10 safeties in the league back then. Still think he's very good at his age. I'm sad to see him go because of the leadership, but I just love what Kobe Bryant brings to the table. And I think this is going to be exactly what Dennis Allen needs to transition this defense to start looking a lot better than what we saw last year.
I said my good was the D-line moves they made. Those will look a lot better. The better the secondary looks, the better the linebackers look. So you talked a lot about Kobe Bryant. My better is Devin Bush, that signing, because I said they didn't take like the big splash move, but he kind of, in my mind, is that. I mean, he's a young player. I know PFF isn't everything, but he was ranked 4th as linebackers. I believe he was number 1 for linebackers in terms of coverage and incredible speed.
You know who number 2 was? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
I do know who number 2 was. DeMarco Jackson. So you have 1 and 2, hopefully, as your starting linebackers, unless TJ Edwards fully recovers. But hey, but I think he is that type of player, especially in this defense. And you got him at a very reasonable price. So again, I think they were tackling free agency as a team that wasn't loaded up on money. We talked about it on this show. Lots of people talked about how they could have created a lot more cap space. But that comes with pushing the can down the road, which is not what we wanted to see. And so they took a wise approach. But I'm really excited to see what Devin Bush will look like on this defense. A young player, so he's still hopefully basically got his prime years here while you are in contention. The window is open. Let's go for it. That's my better. What do you got, Bob?
Yeah, so my better, I'm going to go back to the stadium situation a little bit. My better is the Bears using Indiana as real leverage here. I mean, this is just more proof, more evidence. I know a lot of people do not like Kevin Warren for whatever reason. Maybe there's real reasons. I don't know. This is another example of the Bears acting like a big boy business organization, okay? Whether or not you want the Bears to go to Indiana, or whether or not you think they should go to Indiana, if you think there's a real chance they are going to Indiana, that's what they need. They need that to be a real threat to the state of Illinois in order for the Bears to be able to get what they want. Now, you think, billionaires shouldn't be getting praised. Fine, whatever. Then they're going to go to Indiana anyway, right? But Indiana needs to be a real threat. And what's happening with Indiana, whether the Bears actually want to move to Indiana or not, what's happening is what a real threat looks like. So I'm just going to applaud the Bears. We want them to start acting like a real organization, not a mom and pop shop. And this is what that looks like. So I applaud all the efforts out there to try to use Indiana to get what they want.
All right.
There have been lots of examples in the last couple of years of them actually making moves that you expect out of a good organization. So pretty soon we're going to have to think that's what they are.
Yeah, I mean, spending $15 million a year on a head coach, that's another thing that they would never have done before. They decided to do it because it's what real organizations do, right?
Flying guys first class instead of coach.
Right.
It doesn't sound like much, but it's something that never happened before.
It matters. It matters. All right, well, I am lucky enough to get to kick us off for best. And
can I wait before we get to
best?
I just want to say, those watching, go to the comment section. We want to hear what your good, better, and best is, right? So we want to hear those 3 things. Make sure you go to the comment section, hit that, and then let's make a push for 2,000, okay? We only need 50 more subscribers. Let's make that push for 2,000. So if you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please go do it now. For the best.
I should have done a much better self-promo. I was so excited to get into the conversation.
It's great conversation. It's a great episode that you
Absolutely
came up with, by the way.
So for best, I mean, I feel lazy with my best. Hopefully you guys are going to blow it out of the water. But for me, it was Dylan Thieman making it to 25 and the Bears picking him. 2 things that just coincided is it was very clear you needed safeties. You basically had no one returning. Now, by the time the draft had approached, they had already made the Kobe Bryant signing, which was necessary and wise. And we've talked many times on this show, and we believe that the Bears believe in BPA as a good approach to make your team stronger in the present and building towards your future. And it just so happened that Dylan Thieman at that point in the draft was absolutely the best player available and also at a position of need. Before I had done very much draft prep at all, he already was on my mind as a guy, like, go get him if he's there. And as the lead up to the draft kept happening, I started to not even think about him as much, assuming he wouldn't be there. And he was there, and they pounced. And I'm excited to see what him and Kobe Bryant will look like together. I think he also has some of that versatility, Rob, that you had mentioned, which allows Dennis Allen to even do more tricks, especially when you factor in, hopefully, a healthy Kyler Gordon. So I could say more, but I want to hear you guys. What are your best?
Yeah, my best is going to piggyback off that a little bit. My best is just how they address the entire safety position group as a whole, right? Way back in I guess, towards the end of January when we did our top 5 needs, my number 1 far and away above number 2, which was a premier pass rusher, was the safety position because they had no safeties. There was nobody on the depth chart. So, of course, that's your number 1 need when you have nobody. And not only did they just address it because they had to, it's now a strength of the team, right? There's a lot of talk out there. Oh, where is this Bears team better than they were last year? Well, safety, right? And it wasn't just that now they're better. Those were difficult decisions to let those guys walk. Kevin Byard, a team leader, very productive. That's not easy to let him go. Jaquan Brisker, like whether you like him or not, kind of heart and soul type player of a team. Somebody that I'm sure Ryan Poles was very proud of as a 2nd-round pick, wanted to believe in. But, like, hey, I'm sorry, we got to make this team better. And what are we going to do? We're going to go out and sign very flexible, fast, athletic safety from a Super Bowl champion team. And then we're going to use our 1st-round pick on this guy who shouldn't have been there. And that is going to be – and not only that, they kind of left safety as a flexible spot for the draft to allow the Dylan Thieman thing to happen. What if he had dropped but they'd already re-signed Brisker, right? So just how the whole thing worked out to go from nobody to strength of the team is just, A+++, best situation of the offseason.
So I'm going to piggyback off that piggyback. And my best is honestly the entire draft class, which is crazy because, I wasn't like on board with every single move in the moment that they were making it, right?
We saw your tweets.
We saw, yes. I mean, instantly when they drafted Logan Jones at 57, like my mind was like, no, that's too soon. Why are you doing this? This is a 3rd-round grade player because he's, a year older than everyone else. But I'm not even going to touch on Thieman other than the fact that he dropped to 25 was absolutely phenomenal. I've said it enough. He was a top 10 player for me on my board. Top 5 player for me for the Chicago Bears. To land him at 25, not have to give up any capital or players to move up is phenomenal. If this blows up in my face, it's going to suck. But guess what? I love the Oregon Ducks too. Like I do. I got a Bo Nix shirt on. Oregon Ducks. I had an Oregon Ducks shirt on when I was on the Bumcast, the Bums podcast because of Dylan Thieman. I love the Oregon Ducks. And they're not even my favorite college team. Notre Dame is. Okay, we're getting off the rails here.
Oh, we weren't going to touch on Thieman.
I was like, steer us back.
We're getting off the rails. Every pick that they made after that, it just makes sense. Look, Garrett Bradbury, you traded for him, but what did you get for him? You got a guy, you gave up a 5th-round pick, you got a guy for basically a year, as an insurance policy because you didn't know what was going to happen in the draft. At first, I was upset about it. You're giving up a second-round pick now, and you're giving up a fifth-round pick to figure out your center position. Well, guess what? Now, if Logan Jones doesn't work out, Bradbury's there to take over. Because here's the thing. I do think Logan Jones can come in and start right away. Linderbaum. Why am I blanking on the guy with the Chiefs? Not Cushenberry.
Creed
Humphrey, right? Like, those two guys started week 1, and they are two of the best centers in the NFL. I want to see the same thing happen with Logan Jones. I want to see him be able to come in and just own it. And I think that is possible. I think he has the mind to be able to do it. I think he has the physical capabilities to do it. Being a year older probably helps him physically to be able to do that. So that's what I want to see. And then maybe Bradbury could be a trade option as we move on into the season for teams like Baltimore who might need a center. And this is Nick Whalen on Twitter. This was his idea. So I'm kind of stealing his thunder. So I want to give him some credit. But I think it was a great idea to at least put out there as an option as the season progresses, right? The third round pick was Sam Roush. In the moment, before it even happened, I said, I don't care what this pick is as long as it wasn't a quarterback, right? Like that was the only move, or a kicker or a punter. Like those were the only moves I'd be mad about. Taking a tight end wasn't on my mind.
You don't take a punter until the 4th. Come on, Rob.
The 4th. You're right. But taking him there, like knowing how much the 13 personnel is shifting for a lot of these teams now. The back half of the year, you saw even more 13 personnel for the Chicago Bears. So being able to put him in play, I think is just going to make this team better. Does it open a possibility that maybe Kmet is traded before the deadline? Possibly, but I doubt it just because they want to have 3 tight ends. Now you get to probably my favorite value pick in Malik Muhammad. Absolutely love this pick. This is a guy that I was taking at 89 in most of our mock drafts. The fact that they were able to get him and Thieman at those spots is phenomenal. Just phenomenal. I think this guy, look, he's not as big of a press man corner or as good of a press man corner as he is in zone, but clearly Dennis Allen sees something in him. He's got the size. He's got the speed. I truly think he's going to impact this team in the sense that Bob, you mentioned it earlier. I think he is going to push, and I like Tyreek Stevenson. I think he's going to push Tyreek Stevenson to be that CB2 very early on in the season. Maybe not at the beginning of the year, but very early on. And the rest of the draft picks, I mean, I'm fine with it. They was all good. And you got an upside defensive tackle who can, shoot the gaps. You got a linebacker who could potentially push to be the starting middle linebacker in 2027, if not this year. Like, you're not going to hit a home run on every single pick, but in this draft class, a weak-ass draft class, I am so pumped with what they were able to do. I'm very excited for this team going forward, and I got nothing else to say.
I don't know how many piggybacks are allowed, but can I piggyback off the piggyback for the Never Let It Rest?
Yes.
That's right.
The draft is hyped. I mean, the NFL does a phenomenal job promoting itself and making everything about. I mean, we're in the offseason and people are hyped about the draft, and then pretty soon it'll be the schedule release. They do a great job of that. But the thing is, it's only one part of how you construct a team. And so many people were mad they didn't maybe take an edge. Well, are you going to not take Thieman so you could take an edge that maybe fits, maybe doesn't? No. I think they made the right move. But Never Let It Rest for me is you look at picking up a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, who last year I don't think even signed with a team until August, and put up 8.5 sacks and 12 tackles for loss, which I think would have ranked him about number 2 on this team had he been playing for the Bears. So there's still moves they should be making. And we didn't talk about this pre-show, so I don't want to say too much because I think it might be where Bob might want to go. But never letting it rest is you start coaching these guys up right now up until the season starts.
So I'll piggyback off of that. It's not exactly where I'm going with this, but it certainly is. I mean, on the field is going to be on the field. Whether they bring in a defensive end or not, I don't know. Fine. What is going to take this team to the next level next year is Caleb Williams taking that next step to be an efficient quarterback. He's already a spectacular quarterback. He's already a clutch quarterback, but he's got to become an efficient quarterback, right? Everything he did last year, all those big plays, he still didn't pass for 4,000 yards. I'm not saying that because it's like, a super big milestone that you got to get to. I'm saying that because the best quarterbacks in the league are passing for 4,600, 4,700. And it's all because he's just not making those easy enough completions in the first 3 quarters of games to allow that yardage total to go higher and higher and higher. And if the first 3 quarters of the game are more efficient, then you don't necessarily need the spectacular and clutch in the 4th quarter. So what I want is everything going on from these mini camps to training camp, but everything in between is just all the focus. Everything this organization is doing is to get Caleb Williams to be described as an efficient quarterback for the rest of his career.
And what I like about that, Bob, is you've already heard him and Ben Johnson talk specifically about that. So the fact that their mind and everything is on that, I have faith and hope anyway that they'll know how to address it. And the Bears were number 1 in dropped yardage last year. So he should have got 4,000, but I still see your point.
So I'm not going to use the word piggyback. I'm just going to steal Justin's thunder because I, too, am just kind of hoping that they kind of make another move, right? And there's a lot of names out there. I know you already mentioned Jadeveon Clowney, right? Joey Bosa is another name that's out there. Cameron Jordan is another name that's out there. Like, I just want to see them bring in someone who has veteran presence that can kind of hold his own. I do think, and we didn't mention him earlier, I do think Austin Booker is going to take another step forward. We saw a lot out of him in the back half of that year. He doesn't necessarily fit the mold and what Dennis Allen wants, but I do think he's seen enough, and they're not going to just cut him. So you're going to play him, and I think he could push to get a lot more reps this year. But if you've got that veteran guy,
something come across my social media feed on Austin Booker. Is he shredded now? Did I miss?
He's working with some bodybuilding
AI, or if it was something real, but he looks cut,
Myles Garrett.
It looks like honestly 12, 15 pounds of pure muscle he added.
Yeah, so he's been working with bodybuilders. Now I will say
he passes his pizza.
I shouldn't bash bodybuilders because they might come and knock me out. But I will say, a lot of times bodybuilders, they lift to get bigger versus stronger. So I do hope that, so I do hope that it leads to him not getting slower, and he's able to actually have physical strength out on the field.
Right.
But yes, you are correct. That is not AI. That truly happened. Okay. And he could be that guy to be across from Montez Sweat. But we don't know the Dio situation, right? He's coming off a major injury. It's an Achilles injury. That's one of the hardest injuries to come back from. It's way worse than an ACL tear in the NFL nowadays. So I truly hope that he is able to get back full. But because we don't
be motivated, right?
Oh, he's going to be motivated because whatever. Why is that a thing? I don't even understand it.
So,
but go get a guy and just have a veteran presence. And it doesn't even need to be one of those bigger names. It could be, one of the lower guys, but I just want somebody else there to at least have competition going into the season.
Another big name, Von Miller, but I don't know if he fits. But here's the thing, guys. Those bigger names, Rob, they're big names because they've done it before. They've proven themselves. But you are now a destination that a guy could say, I could be that final piece. I could chase a ring in Chicago. That wasn't the case before. And so knowing that, I think you have a better chance at finding those little things that might be the difference to make this a true contender.
If you guys don't know, Gary, I'm sure, can cross-check this and let us know in the chat, or anyone else can let us in the chat. But I'm pretty sure Dennis Allen actually coached Von Miller when he was in Denver as the defensive coordinator before he went to the Raiders.
But he was quoted as saying, I hate his frame. It's not big. No, I'm kidding. They always say he has a type. Come on, guys. Shouldn't he be able to coach a Von Miller?
We all have types. It doesn't necessarily mean we go after those types.
All right, fair enough.
Or maybe we landed them and we're just 3 happily married men.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So,
happy anniversary, by the way, belated for those of you who didn't know Bob recently.
Oh, thank you.
On draft day.
The episode was good, better, and best.
It was.
Yeah. So, as Rob said, though, commenters, hopefully we missed a few things. Hopefully there was lots of good, lots of better, and lots of best. So tell us what you think. Let's keep this conversation going all off season.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. If you're still watching this, you're hearing me say this, and you're not subscribed, hit subscribe. Help us get to that 2,000 mark. Hopefully by the time the season starts, hopefully by training camp would be awesome. But subscribe. It's free for you. It helps us out. Appreciate that.
This message goes out to the shit stain who decided to put a negative Google review on my wife's business page. I don't know if you're a competitor. I don't know if you are a. I don't know. Yes, I don't know if you're a competitor.
Amazing Venn diagram.
It would. What if they're a Packers fan, guys? What if they're a Packers fan doing this to fuck with me? But whether you're a bot, whether you're a competitor of hers, like that's just fucking bullshit. She had a 5-star rating, dropped her to a 4.8 because of one freaking review. And I do appreciate Aldo. For those of you who don't know who he is, but he's a big Bears content creator. Went out and gave a fake 5-star review to offset it. So hopefully that'll help her.
Nice.
I don't know where to go. I don't know how to follow that.
It's been bothering me all night. It just happened right before the show.
Well, hopefully people are rating us 5 stars.
That's right. 5 stars. 5
Or
bear.
one-
5 paws.
We'll take 1 thumbs up.
There we go.
I like 5 claws. All right. Until next time, guys. Bear down, claws up.
I'm giving you 10, Rob. I'm giving you 10. Take a
It's after Packers always.